Hello everyone. If you want to go to my free course, type henry-ward.co.uk into Google, then go to Henry Ward Trading, and then this here is my free course. Click on Start Today. If you want to go on to the webinars that I do every Sunday and every Wednesday, click on Trading Academy and then click on Start Today. So this is the Trading Academy. This is the full training, the webinars, direct access to me, everything that you want. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Tuesday webinar or the Tuesday Market Watch. We haven't done crypto in a little while, so today we're going to go through some of the major currencies and have a look at what's going on in the market. Now, as we can see here, this is Bitcoin. So previously we wanted Bitcoin to go up and then come back into this area, and it did hit this sort of area and then took off to the upside. Now, looking at sort of the structure of this here, we have a sideways market, we have a spike to the upside, pull back, and then go again, and then another pullback. So we actually now have an upper momentum. We now have a bull market on crypto. We've now had, there's a high, higher high, higher high, low, higher low, higher low. So these are heading up. Now, we've had a couple of historical little sort of movements like that, and then it drops. So there's a low, there's a high, there's a double bottom, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then it drops. But this seems a little bit different. It seems like the market is starting to get a little bit bullish across the likes of crypto space. It looks like we are looking to get a little bit of upside, a little bit of upward momentum on the likes of this at the moment. It feels like we have a sort of a little bit of enthusiasm at the minute in crypto. Now, looking at the bigger picture, let's have a quick look. We have a level at the 25 area again, which is going to be a key historical sort of level back about there. If we look at that, a hit here, it bounced up, it hit here from underneath, came down, it went up and hit there again. So that level is 25,284. So that's the resistance level we're getting at the minute, and historically there's very, very little else at that particular point. But it's an area where we seem to be getting sellers jumping into the market. Now, ideally for me, what I would like to see is I would like to see that coming back down to this level, okay, having a double bottom. So for me, it has a lot more momentum, or a lot more sort of power coming from a low rather than coming from sort of midlands where it is right at the minute. Because at the minute, to me, this is in no man's land. We have a ceiling here where it hit, a floor where it hit. So we have a level there. We have a decent little bit of support and resistance. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's sort of a zone rather than a key level. We can pull that level up and down a fraction. It still fits right there. So for me, we want that to come back down a little fraction before I'm looking at that to break out. So for me, it's a double bottom. So we'd be looking to get a sort of an entry on this as a long position. So entry somewhere around there, and our stop loss. Now the thing with this is, as someone who's trading in the UK, we can't use this as a CFD. So we have to buy this as the underlying asset. So if you're looking to trade this as a CFD, I'll be putting a little bit of an extra bit on the. I don't put it underneath that, because there's a probability that the bar spikes down and then goes back up. So if we're putting a limit order and you're outside of the UK, I'll be sort of looking for that to go up to about there. Now, as you know, historically with all my trades, I never look for it to hit the very high. See the open and the close here? I'm looking for it to hit just below the open and the close. That's why I have my take profit just slightly below it. So this is where I'm sort of looking at this, and this will be 2.35 to 1. So if you're risking 1% of your account, so just imagine that's £100 or £1,000. If it's £1,000, you're looking to make 2,350 quid. Okay, so that's what we're looking at on the likes of this. Now, what we do is we take previous history or previous data to work out what's going to happen next. Now, we've had this pretty big run here. We've had this phase 2, and then we've had a nice little pop to the upside. Now, I would rather see pops like this than like this. Okay, so this is just a run that we can't really predict. This is nice and predictable. Pop up, come back down, and then go again. So I'd like to see this come back down to here. And ideally, for trading the likes of cryptos, we would want that to go up to about there somewhere, and then pull back to this area. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. That's the ideal scenario. That's what we're looking for. That's what we want. That's what we wanted to go. That's what we sort of need this to happen before we actually start to trade. We start to jump in and make money on the likes of this. But again, if you're taking this as the underlying asset, you're buying it here. We're not really going to get out at there because that's only 13%. So you risk 100 quid to make 13, or you risk 1,000 to make 130 quid. So the idea is, if you're buying this as an underlying asset, you're buying this with the potential of it going up, with it continuing to go up. All right. So if you're buying an underlying asset, it's a buy and hold position at this particular point. So 21,873. Where we are now. If it goes down a little bit lower and comes back down to here, because this is the second scenario, if it comes down to here, then again 16,290, that seems to be a really good level. That seems to be the bottom of this sort of momentum here that's going on, this slower downturn. So that seems to be the bottom. So once it comes back down to here, I'd expect a pretty big pop to the upside. I might even just come down to here. So in these sort of areas between 18,000 and 16,000, I would expect lots of buy orders at that particular point to push this up. So in that scenario, we buy here, or we buy at some of these levels on the way down, if you're still confident that this will pop to the upside. And that's what we're looking at. Cardano ADA. So we actually were looking for this to come back to here. It hit this ceiling, and I expected it to come back to here. So I'm just going to move this horizontal here a little bit. And look, what we have is we've one touch, two touches, and now this is a third touch. So it's done exactly what we're looking for, exactly what we wanted to do. And the only question we have now is, do we expect the buyers to jump in now at this particular point and push it back up somewhere in around this area, or do we expect a little more downside? So again, it comes into two scenarios. If you're someone who can trade this, it's a very simple trade. You'd put your entry above that green bar and your stop loss below it. Okay. Now, I'm not putting it below the bar. I'm putting it below this low here. So that's the lowest one there. Now, I could put it below here, and that would probably be the safest one. But then the risk to reward is not very good. My take profit here is actually just inside that level. Why am I putting it inside the level? Well, it hit the level here once, and then it broke through the level here. So I have it slightly a little bit higher, just underneath that level. And if I'm risking, say, 100 quid or £1,000, this is 1.3 to 1. So if this trade wins, it's 130 quid for 100 risk, or it's £1,300 reward for £1,000 risk. So they're the sort of setups with the likes of this at the moment now. And then ideally, we'd like it to break out of there and then retest this level. If it breaks and retest, that'd be where we'd be looking to get in. That's where we'll be looking for that to sort of take off. Ethereum hasn't come back as quickly as the other ones have. but we still needed to come back into this level for us to come into a buying zone. So if it comes back to here, then that's an area where we can potentially be buying it, or alternatively, if it breaks up to the upside and then retests here. But at this present moment, it's not something I'm looking at. It's not something I'm trading, but it seems to have sort of found a sort of a level through that area. But again, it's not something that's jumping out at me. About this 1,700 level seems to be the area where it is bouncing. Matic. So Matic was one of the better ones in the sense that it's actually been trending upwards for a long time. It also had that little pop to the upside like the rest of the crypto. Now the question is that going to now pop to the upside somewhere around here, or is that going to go the whole way back down to that level there? So as we can see, it hit it once, rejected, hit it twice, rejected, hit it 3 times, rejected here. Is it going to come back down to this level, and then are we going to get some sort of movement on this? Yes, there is a little small, what would I call it, double bottom potential here. So there is a double bottom potential right there. But for me, here is a lot stronger than that double bottom. For me, this level here is a lot stronger, so it's not something that is jumping out at me, but I would like that to come back to that level, and then we potentially look at that as buying this up. Solana. So Solana is one of those ones that hasn't reacted very well to Bitcoin's movements. Usually with the likes of these altcoins, once Bitcoin takes off, they all sort of take off a little bit. Now here we had Solana hit 11.74, and then at that particular point, from that low, which is there, to the high, which is here, is 94%. So it actually moved 94% up, which if you'd have caught that, well done. But the problem with that is that it's how do you predict it? Would you have used this sort of level here? If you did, you're a master. But I can't see many people buying it off that level there. So for me, in this particular scenario, I don't see any upside on this before it hits that floor again. I don't see any upside on this before it hits that floor again. And then you may get a bounce because it's a double bottom. You'd have the people who didn't take this then jumping in at this particular point. So you'd expect some sort of bounce again at this level, but till it gets to there, I cannot see this moving in any direction other than down at this present moment. If we look at Binance Coin, again, it's pretty flat, hasn't really gone anywhere. But if crypto takes off, the likes of this will as well. XRP. So XRP was the second currency or the second crypto to go into behind Bitcoin at one stage. Then with the SEC case still going ahead, waiting for an outcome on that. For me, it has to come back down to here before I'm looking to invest. Yes, we potentially have a sort of a soft level through here. A couple of bounces here, retest, bounce, bounce, bounce. Yes, but is it an area where I would be happy to spend my hard-earned money and jump in here? Absolutely not. It's not one of these ones that is jumping out at me. We have a touch here, touch there, couple of touches in these areas, touch, and then a little retest here. So if we get that retest, then potentially jump in on it, but not for me at this present moment. I don't see enough value in this to be to the upside. Dogecoin is similar to the likes of Solana. It's one of those ones that if you invested in, you're probably sorry that you have. You hope Elon Musk then comes along and incorporates it into something, and then it has world domination. But other than that, you're probably not going to get your money out of this. So it's now just hope that it turns around. But again, the next level to potentially invest is this one has 0.0569. That's the area where we'd be looking for this to sort of turn again. But again, time will tell. Last one of the ones that I sort of look at is Litecoin. So Litecoin is quite similar to Matic in the sense that it's been an upward trend for not longer than the likes of Bitcoin. It has come down to a sort of a double bottom there, but for me it has to come down to sort of here before I'm looking to invest in this. I expect it to come back down into this area, and if it comes back down to this area, that's where I expect this to sort of return, jump, and we'll see from there. But thank you very much. If you like this, jump in onto my YouTube channel and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.